has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
And we are back, Ferrall, coast to coast, here on a Tuesday. Carver High and Cam Stewart here with you, hour number 3 on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. We got a lot to do this hour. NBA Cup tonight, some college football. The new rankings come out tonight. We've got Denny Bernstein with some hockey. Lots of college basketball games to get to, too. So very busy final hour here on C2C. And speaking, Cam, quickly of those college basketball games, 53-52, UConn leads Colorado as they are about at the under 12 timeout in the second half. Just about 11:44 left in that game. Yes.
How about a live play on the Buffs for Dion?
Live play on the Buffs.
What do you think? What are we getting?
I'm not. I don't think that UConn's going to lose. I don't think UConn's going to lose the game. Hurley loses 2 games out in Maui. There's really something bad that's going to happen out there. So I'm going to stay away. He's
already flipped his wig. I think I'm that stupid enough to take the Buffaloes if you give me a good price. Let me find this, and I'm ready to roll.
Let's see what they're at right now. Since you've brought it up, Cam, I'm willing to go and see what the number is.
I'm getting 6.5. Sold. Small play. This is what I do during the show just to entertain myself. We had a good night last night. 7.5. Even better. Thank you.
And in Vegas, second game of the day, Texas A&M leads Oregon 23-17 out at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. So they have 4 games there today, and that's what's cooking there. Last thing, we were talking about Rodgers, and I do agree with you. Their options are limited, Cam, when you think about it right now. Lots of things happen between now and March in terms of movement and these quarterbacks and what goes wrong, who gets hurt, who does this, who does that. There could be a starter on a good team that there's their ACL in December, and they're not going to play next year. There's a lot of things that can go on between now and then. But there's one difference between him and, let's say, my example, Favre in the past and completing the Favre cycle. He won't care if he just goes to his bunker there in Malibu and goes to the darkness hole and he never came out again. Like, he'll be fine with that.
Right.
Like, he got plenty of money. He got like a $16 million house on the beach in Malibu. Like, he's gonna be okay going to do that. But him saying today, Cam, that he doesn't know if he's playing next year, whereas 3 weeks ago he was saying he was. That's very telling in terms of the no, as you were saying. Very telling.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think there's a team that matches, and every other good team has young quarterbacks in the wings. It just, the list is very small. That's my take.
Let's get to the NBA now. A few things from last night. The Knicks destroyed the Nuggets, 145-118. Nice effort by Denver. And I did see Jamal Murray call them out after the game, Cam. I don't know if you saw that. Murray was kind of giving them the business that, we just won in L.A., and then guys just were kind of checked out tonight. They just didn't seem to give full effort. So the Knicks smashed him. Huge night from Cat. And Anunoby had 42 for the Knicks. The Celtics beat the Clippers 126-94. The Zinger had 16 in his return. I could not believe the Nets. The Nets you talk about being spunky. They won back-to-back nights in Sacramento and Golden State. Outright, Cam. Won both nights on the road in those places. I couldn't believe that last night. We were getting 11 or 12 from the Warriors.
I'm thinking about buying a Nets jersey because them and the Raptors, when I bet NBA, it's my favorite thing to do. They're the grittiest team ATS. They show up and they grind. They're supposed to lose and they win. I love them. I'm a Brooklyn guy.
Hey,
that's who I like. Nets.
Raptors covered again last night, Cam. I mean, the Raptors covered
12-6 ATS. Have you taken a look at the Nets? Right at the top of the list. Yeah, every night, baby.
I mean, the Raptors are 4-14 this year straight up, and they're 12-6 against the spread.
Carver. Me and Gabe got a plan.
That's
cover.
Nuts.
We'll bet you cover and lose and get better draft picks. We got a game plan with these guys.
That's the game. That's the game plan. Let's get to tonight. Of course, we have these NBA Cup games going on. These just mean more. They wanted to. We'll start with the Bulls, who are in Washington against the Wizards tonight. Bulls minus 5.5. How about this we love totals like this. 244.5 for the Bulls and the Wizards. Defense optional tonight with these two teams.
What do we do, Carver? Like, do I bet the under because of that number, or like
nope.
what? Or do
when
I
it's
take
that
the over?
high, Cam,
You
they
take the
can't
over.
make it high enough. Up and away. Over 244.5.
They suck. You want to talk about a team that reeks ATS everything? That's them. So yeah, we'll take the over. You know what, Carver? I'm going to take a ride in your car with the over there. Let's go. Pass it.
That's got 135, 120 written all like 135, 120 Bulls tonight. Like they are just going to absolutely open one up. And the Wiz shoot a lot of threes. They suck. They don't win. But they got guys who could shoot between Poole and Kispert and a few of their other guys. So they score tons of points as well, usually in blowout fashion. Milwaukee is in Miami against the Heat for this NBA Cup game. Right now, minus 2.5 for the Heat at home, 223.5 the total.
I like the Heat. I don't like that line. I think they win this game, though. I think Miami's going to win. I don't like the 2.5. Money line play, I'll find something else. What do you think, Carver? I think Milwaukee's one of these teams that people just bet, but I think the Heat's the right side here. What do you think?
I know that the Bucks have struggled, but if you look, they've actually started to pick it up. They've won 4 in a row, the Bucks. Once they got Lillard back in the lineup, and both Lillard and Giannis have been out there, things have gotten a little bit better. I'm on the Bucks tonight, Cam. Here in Miami against the Heat. I'm going to take the Bucks to get things cooking. Little Dame time tonight. Why not? Let's go. Dame time. I'm not a big Heat guy. Dame time. The Rockets, who are 12-6 to start the year, playing some good basketball in Minnesota, who has really just kind of been through the motions through their first 16 games. They are 8-8. T-Wolves minus 3.5, 220.5 the total.
I'm going to take the Rockets here. I think the T-Wolves are going through the motions. I don't really love the NBA card tonight in this NBA Cup, but Houston's a gritty team. I'll take the points with the Rockets. I think it'll be a very close game, and if I think it's going to be a tight game, I'll take the dog, Carver. I don't know how you feel about it, but Houston is a team I like to cheer for as well. I like the way they play.
You know, you usually like a team maybe coming back off of a bad loss. You know, Houston lost to Portland last time out. You had the Timberwolves actually lost to Toronto and Boston on the road their last couple times out. So tough spot for me, Cam. I kind of lean to the Minnesota side tonight at home. I think I'm going to go T-Wolves here against the Rockets, and I'll probably get burned on that aspect.
I don't know if you're going to get burned. Yeah. Who do you have?
Yeah, the T-Wolves just, it's Jekyll and Hyde so far. You have no idea what you're going to get night in, night out. So that's what worries me, Cam. Not the one I like the most tonight. Actually, the next one is the one that I like the most. The Spurs are 2.5-point favorites in Utah against the Jazz. 224.5 is the total. I like the Spurs tonight, believe it or not, Cam. And they've had some trouble with the Jazz in the past. In fact, last time they lost outright to them by 1, but they also completely pummeled them the first time they played them this year. Last year, Wembanyama had some big games against them. I'm on the Spurs minus the 2.5 in Utah.
Carver, I don't like being against you because we're friends and I like enjoying the show, but I think Utah's the play tonight. It's just, and I have no empirical data to back it up. I think, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things that I think I'm going to take the points in the money line with the Utah Jazz. It's a pure vibe play. This game is going to come right down to the wire, though. It's not going to be.
I like playing the Spurs when Wembanyama's actually playing. When Wembanyama's actually out there, I do like playing the Spurs. I got one other game for the NBA tonight. And then we got some action in college football as well. Coast to coast, you're back in the game right after this. he shouldn't need to hire outside help at this point to be able to help him, let alone outside help, Joe, that used to work for him.
Until they get him out of the way, I just don't see how this gets any better. And like you said, who are you picking from? Because most people who know the league want nothing to do with the ownership group there with the Jets.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Fillet Indiana. They would smash them.
What?
Honestly.
Do you listen to yourself speak? That's not a reality question. They have not played each other. You are using hypothetical.
And they got embarrassed.
As so many
if
teams
they would have
do.
Won that football. Yes, that's you're 100% correct.
No. Stop.
The only argument is Indiana is a decent football team and a product of their environment.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back for El Coast to Coast on a Tuesday. Carver Hine, Cam Stewart in for Scotty on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. All right, Cam, one other NBA game before we move on. And I guess you would have to say the best game of the night. Underwhelming slate in the NBA, but you do have the Suns and the Lakers getting together in Phoenix, and the Phoenix is going to have their guys back. Durant and Beal both going to be in the lineup for them. The Lakers, of course, have been a tale of two teams this year, Cam. Great at home, not great on the road, which is where they are going to be tonight. -2.5 for Phoenix, 234.5 the total.
Lean over. Want to take the Lakers, but I can't. At home, I would take them. I lean to the Suns in the over, Carver. What do you got for me?
Well, the Suns have already beat them in Phoenix this year, and it was a close game, 109-105. You've got these guys coming back. It's their first night in. I'm actually going to take the Lakers tonight, Cam.
Interesting.
With the 2.5. I'm going to take the Lakers with the 2.5. Up, and away, baby. Let's go. Come on, Cam. I don't want to. I would never want to hold you back from taking it over. So why don't we? I would never want to hold you back from that.
These games are like this NBA card. Like I'm not like I literally. I'm not digging deep here. Like we did really well with football last night, hockey and other things. Like I'm not giving it back on this card. I'm going to dabble tonight, try to play it smart.
Yeah, I don't think it's a lot.
Can't help
It's. No. I do like the Spurs. I know you're on the other side, and I could kind of get in on the Lakers late night, depending on how the Spurs starts out that first hour for me. There you go. NBA Cup this evening. Everybody very excited for the association. About college football now, and we do have two games tonight. Also very excited. Our final weeknight action of the season. Everybody sheds a tear. Or tears of joy. I don't know which one. It's tears of sadness or tears of joy. When Maction goes away. Toledo and Akron, Kent State and Buffalo this evening for you. Kent State is pathetic. They've lost 20 games in a row and they're catching 23.5 up in the Below tonight.
I got to tell you, Carver, I'm laying it with Buffalo. Do you know the Buffalo Bulls have literally gone over in 7 games in a row, and the other one was a push? Take a look at their totals. All they do is play overs. They might hit 40 themselves against these guys. I know this sounds insane. Imagine going to the window. I'm taking the Buffalo Bulls minus 22.5 points. The guy goes, "What are you, a psychopath?" Yeah, kind of. I like the over and Buffalo in that spot. There it is.
Cam, I think Buffalo gets the 49.5 by themselves.
Yep.
I think they can get the 49.5 without even Kent State scoring. And I'm sure Kent State can chip in 7 or 14 or 2, who knows what. But I'm sure they'll even chip in. So I'll go up and away in that game with you there. And I actually like the opposite in the other game. I like the under in the Toledo action.
So do I. And I like the dog
for that.
I like the dog, and I like Akron.
Yeah.
Give me the Zips in the under, Buffalo in the over.
Wow.
Let's watch.
Zip for Cam. Zip. Zip is what we will get. Also tonight, you will get the new college football playoff rankings. You're a couple of hours away from that. I guess Cam pick names out of a hat. I don't really know how it's going to be. It's not easy for that crew that has to pick how that goes. But looking at the odds for some of these teams to make the college football playoff, I think we can safely assume, Cam, that Tennessee's going to be in there. Indiana's still going to be in there. And I think maybe the second ACC team, I think that maybe SMU and Miami will both find their way into the top 12 this week when we see it in a few hours. But who knows with that crew? Anything's possible with the college football playoff committee.
I just can't believe we talked about the one game, and what a season for Alabama. They beat Georgia and all this stuff, and then you get smoked by Oklahoma. The Sooner season went down the tubes early, and then they beat Alabama. That's how you change things in your season. I've never seen Alabama Carver. They lost by 21 to the Oklahoma Sooners. That doesn't happen since the days of Gene Stallings or before. What is going on here with the program?
Yeah.
They look good early. They look awful.
And look, Cam, my thing is you can have one bad loss through the year.
2 or 3.
But I don't think you can have 2. And I know that Vandy's been good this year, better than usual. Vandy's been a decent football team. They're 6-5. They're going to go bowling for the first time in forever. That was a bad loss for Alabama. Losing to Vandy was a bad loss for them. Losing to Oklahoma, who looked awful all year, is a bad loss for them. They've got 2 bad losses on their record. But you know it, Cam. A couple hours from now, they're going to put that poll out, and Alabama's going to be one of the first 2 teams out. And they're going to leave the door open for when other people lose, potentially for them to sneak right back in the back door. Bill Bender said it best yesterday to me. They're always the first team on the back of the line. They're always the first team that's ready to go in. Even when it was 4 teams before this year, they were always that 5th, 6th team ready to jump in. And I would have bet tonight they're going to be the 13th, 14th team, be the next team, even with 3 losses, that's looking to jump in. So that's keep your eyes open for that later there for the college football playoff rankings. We'll talk about a lot of tomorrow when they release them. I've got the best and the worst for college with you as well, Cam, for college football best and worst against the spread. Do I got time? Yeah, let's throw one of these out there now. Arizona State, who has this huge game coming up this week against Arizona, 9-2 ATS, Marshall, Tulane, Notre Dame, Minnesota, Baylor, South Carolina, Indiana, Vandy, and Colorado. The best, Cam, against the spread this year in college football.
Arizona State deserves an award. They were projected to be last place in their division. All they're doing is winning games and covering. This is a magical season that has not been talked about enough. Good for you, Carver, and Notre Dame. I know you wish you could erase that Northern Illinois loss. And let's give, Colorado, that was tough. We were on Kansas in that game. They battled, but the Kansas Jayhawks have figured it out too late.
I'd like to see Kansas in the playoff with the way that they're playing. They've been a fun team.
Yeah.
He shouldn't need to hire outside help at this point to be able to help him, let alone outside help, Joe, that used to work for him.
Until they get him out of the way, I just don't see how this gets any better. And like you said, who are you picking from? Because most people who know the league want nothing to do with the ownership group there with the Jets.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Fillet Indiana. They would smash them. Honestly.
You listen to yourself speak. That's not a reality question. They have not played each other. You are using hypothetical.
And they got embarrassed.
As so many
if
teams
they would
do.
have won that football, yes, that's you're 100%
that's the thing, guys.
correct.
No.
The
Stop.
only
Please
argument is Indiana is a decent football team and a product of their environment.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back for El Coast to Coast here on a Tuesday. Carver High and Cam Stewart in for Scotty on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. Good to have everybody with us here. Colorado hanging around, huh, Cam? What were you saying there? Colorado is right there with UConn out in Maui. Of course, that is on the loser side of the bracket, but 65-63 with 4:40 to go in that one. So Cam's, of course, got the Buffaloes at 6.5, and we're going to try to get that home for him here.
And money line,
7.5.
plus 220.
So and money line. So we're going to try to get Cam home here with Tad Boyle and the Buffaloes over the next few minutes. Texas A&M up 3, 32-29 on Oregon in Vegas at the Players Era Festival going on there. Here's the worst side of college football. We gave you the best. Arizona 2-9 against spread. So you have the best team against the spread this year, Arizona State, playing the worst team against the spread, Arizona, on Saturday. Can't wait to see how that goes, Cam. North Carolina, who, by the way, I'll add this in now since they're on the worst list, chopped Mac Brown today. Now, he's going to coach the last game on Saturday against NC State. And the funny part was, Mac, I guess, Cam sent the missives out to the media last week that he was not done, that he was still feeling good and ready to coach, and he'd be back for another year. The officials at North Carolina felt otherwise. They're going to chop Mac, send him home himself. They're not going to let him make the decision. They were probably hoping that he would gracefully make the decision and retire. But when he said, no, I don't want to do that, they said, well, we're going to push you out then. So Mac Brown's going to be out in Chapel Hill. Florida State, Georgia, LSU, FAU. Yes, Cam, go ahead.
I have to ask you about LSU and Brian Kelly. So they don't get the quarterback prospect that they want. Me and Gabe talk about that. He's ending up going to Michigan.
Yeah.
What's the deal with this guy?
They didn't have enough money.
Ed Orgeron was actually a winner at this school. Like, how many lives? Dude, you could have stayed at Notre Dame and built a career for yourself year after year after year, but you went to the SEC, very confident, and now what do you got? I don't know what your opinion is or whatever, but this guy's must be playing with fire, because I'm surprised. People in Baton Rouge will not take a team like this. They want to be content.
Me and Ferrall have talked about this a lot, Cam, the last couple of weeks. And what I have said to him is Brian Kelly could have easily been the head coach at Notre Dame for the rest of his life. He could have been there. Never. He would have been, maybe he would have eventually won one, but I know he would have won 10-plus games every year, and nobody would have been looking to run him out of town pretty much ever. He would have been named along many others in the history of that program. That's a whole other animal down there, as you said. And this is really, the first bad year. And I think I know they're crazy in the SEC, but I don't think he's getting chopped. And it is surprising to me that they couldn't find another $1 million or $2 million under the couch to give to the kid that went to Michigan, because that's all it was about.
Yeah.
Was about who was going to give him the most money, and Michigan ponied up with a little bit more cash at the end of the day. Now, if next year is like this year, he's going to be out of there, and he's going to be wishing he was back in his castle in South Bend. He's going to wish that he was there because he's maybe not, Cam, because some guys don't care because the money trumps everything. So he's going to count a lot of money if he ever gets chopped from LSU because they paying him a lot, but the pressure down there and you better do it now. Remember, Ed Orgeron won a title, Cam.
Yes.
And they ran him out within 2 years. They said, get this guy out of here. And he won a title.
The area almost with the accent and stuff. Kelly comes in with a fake accent. He's not from the Bayou. Like this guy, it's like
they
what?
have.
Come on.
He's gonna eventually find himself into some trouble.
I agree.
When it gets to LSU, and it's a very, very competitive conference. You're seeing it this year, and yes, they're going to get 3 or 4 teams in every year. We'll see if it's 4 this year, but it's a very tough conference to win in. Whereas at Notre Dame, like it or not, they don't have that problem. They don't have a conference championship game that they have to play, and Brian would have been in the playoff every single year. All right. We'll come back. I've got Elvis in the building, Dennis Bernstein, of course, the fourth period in Sirius XM NHL Radio. I'll do some hockey with him. And then, Cam, we'll finish up. I want to do 1 or 2 other things college with you. Most of it I'll do tomorrow. Yep. And then I have 2 hockey games tonight. I'll get your plays for that and the rest of the college basketball for tonight, including that great North Carolina-Auburn game out in Maui. You have Michigan State playing Memphis out in Maui. Rutgers, Notre Dame in Vegas, a couple of Kansas against Duke in Vegas. Lots of good games tonight. Coach to Coach back there. He shouldn't need to hire outside help at this point to be able to help, let alone outside help, Joe, that used to work for him.
Until they get him out of the way, I just don't see how this gets any better. And like you said, who are you picking from? Because most people who know the league want nothing to do with the ownership group there with the Jets.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Road manager is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We fillet Indiana. They would smash them. Honestly.
Do you listen to yourself speak? That's not a reality question. They have not played each other. You are using hypothetical.
And they got embarrassed.
As so many
if
teams
they would have
do.
Won that football. Yes, that's you're 100%
the thing, guys.
correct.
No. Stop.
The only argument is Indiana is a decent football team and a product of their environment.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back for Coast to Coast here on a Tuesday. Carver High in for Scotty on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. Great to have everybody with us here today. Always good to have Elvis in the building, baby. That is right. Dennis Bernstein from the fourth period, Sirius XM NHL Radio. As we get ready, it's always Thanksgiving week. It's big in the sports scene for everybody, but even hockey, because usually everyone plays the night before Thanksgiving on Wednesday, right, and usually everyone gets back out there Friday as well, and there's a lot of afternoon games Friday. It's always a very fun week on the hockey calendar. Dennis, good to see you. I have a lot of things to get to you and not a lot of time to do it. Let me start with this, just because this is in your neck of the woods. What the hell happened to the Kings at the Shark Tank last night? I think the Sharks have been kind of spunky lately. I like taking them as dogs at home sometimes, depending on the opponent. I was on them last night, but 7 goals against Los Angeles, I did not expect that.
No one did, and it was 2-2 late, and it was 2-2 going to the third. So the Kings gave up 5 goals to the Sharks. Hey, look, the Sharks are a better team. They have Celebrini, they have Will Smith, they've added guys like Toffoli and Markley Goodrow and Jake Wallman, so they're a better team. But to surrender 5, the first goal was terrible by Bridich, who was not good last night. The second goal, there was no interference on the goaltender, yet Heller decided to challenge it. There was another penalty taken. There's a 5-on-3. It was a collapse by the Kings, a very disappointing loss for this team. And here's the issue. Now they've lost twice to the Sharks in San Jose, and they're 20 games into the season. The Sharks haven't beaten any other team in the Pacific, and it's not a great division. So if the Kings wind up either missing by 4 points or maybe getting a home ice advantage for the first round by 4 points, they'll look back on these 2 games in October and November, Carver, and say, what happened here? Because that was a collapse.
It was a collapse, that's for sure. Next, coaching carousel has already spun a little bit, and we've seen this now in the NHL. We've seen some teams make changes early in the year, in November, and gone on runs. Edmonton did it last year. And it got them very far. I was a little puzzled with Boston just because Montgomery's record was so good with them, albeit in the regular season. But it's never good, Denny, when you fire a coach and someone else hires him less than a week later. Someone thought that your move to fire that coach was so poor that they fire their own coach to make sure that they can hire him before anyone else can. And St. Louis wasn't playing well. In fact, I would have fired Bannister too, because he's the only guy this season who wasn't able to come back in the third period against the Islanders on Saturday. Everyone else comes back. The Blues couldn't do it on Saturday, so they whacked them out, and they go and hire Montgomery immediately. What was that all about?
The Bruins helped set an NHL record. That's the quickest a coach has been hired after being fired. 5 days, Carver. 5 days. The guy had a 715 points percentage record in Boston. The team isn't that good. They have deficiencies on the wing. Swayman got paid as not playing like Swayman because he doesn't have the security blanket of Allmark. It's a mess, but, to rile up the team, what do? You're not going to trade 3 or 4 guys at game 20. So you fired the coach. It's standard operating practice in this league that you get to the 20-game mark. That's why you're starting to hear trade rooms. That's why I see coaches start getting fired. What happens is you make an assessment of the team, your scouts go out there, look around, and so now you're at the quarter mark of the season, you start making the changes. Yeah, look, Jim Montgomery will have success in St. Louis. I'm not sure how much because the roster isn't great, but that was a shocking, stunning firing by the Bruins. Joe Sacco has coached in this league before as a head coach, but we'll see. The jury's out on the Boston Bruins. And Carver, I don't think we would have said this at game 1, but at game 22, we're talking about the Bruins might be not making the playoffs.
I was actually just because I always have the odds up whenever I'm talking to you. And I can't remember the last time in the last 5 to 7 years that the Bruins were 30-1 or longer to win the Cup. And right now the Bruins are 30-1 to win the Stanley Cup. This is a team, as you know, Denny, that's usually in that top, 10 to 12 teams that are on the odds board. And to see them nosedive that much, that is very telling to go and see that. Next, staying with teams that need to shake things up. You have started to hear the rumblings that the Rangers possibly want to shake some things up, whether that's roster related or is potentially the head coach going to be a situation for them that also gets shaken up.
Yeah, well, it's a little different in New York because, look, they're 12-7-1. They have lost 3 in a row, and they've looked bad. They're generating a lot of shots against them. A lot against Calgary, a lot against Winnipeg. St. Louis came into the Garden last night and won going away. So, yeah, there's issues. Now, here's the thing. Are you really trading Chris Kreider? He's got 9 goals. He's not the problem. He's at $6.5 million for 2 more years. Like, how are you going to get value? You know Chris Kreider's going to be probably in the 30-goal range. Where are you getting a 30-goal score at $6.5 million for this season or next? It's crazy. Now, Jacob Trouba, they tried that act before. They tried trading him in the summer. So I don't know the trades are going to make it. I don't think it's Laviolette. I don't think it's his fault. I think that this team will bounce back. Carver, there's still a 625 points percentage team. It's not a disaster, but the expectations are very high. I'll be transparent. I picked them to win the cup. I'm having regrets right now. But it's about their core players. The guy that you would try to trade would be Mika Zibanejad, who for the last, season and a half hasn't really been what he needs to be for this team as a number 1 center. So while there's a concern, I think there's less concern because pound for pound, the Rangers have a much better roster than the Bruins. I think they'll bounce back, and I think they'll be in the mix with the Devils and the Hurricanes for the Metro title.
If I told you the stats with the Islanders in terms of what they've done outside of the third period, they have been tied or ahead after 2 periods in 16 of their 22 games. They have held opponents to 1 goal or fewer through 2 periods in 14 of their 22 games. They're 5-5-4 in those games, and this is the one that gets me the most, Denny. In 22 games this year, they've surrendered 33 goals in the third period. They've allowed 30 in the first, second, and overtime combined. 33 in the third, 30 in the other 3. They brought Waugh in there to get rid of the third period problems, and it hasn't happened yet. I still feel it's a lot roster related, but I thought they'd clean that up a little bit, Danny. They've done none of it.
Yeah, you mentioned 16 to 22 games, and they've won 8. So half the games they blew. And again, for a team that's on the outside looking in for the playoffs, you need those 8 points. You're going to need them. They're not that their offense is, their roster isn't that great. Look, Barzal being out, I get it. It hurts the offense. So maybe he would score in the third period and help them win some games. But I think it's mindset, Carver. I think this is a mental thing and not a physical thing. If you can outplay a team for 40 minutes and you have a lead and you play it safe and you play it too safe and you have the offense to bounce back when they get a goal, it's a mystery because now it's 2 coaches. It's not just a Lane Lambert thing. Now it's a Patrick Waugh thing, and that's troubling. So you have to question maybe the mental makeup of this team. So when you look at the trade line, what they're going to do with the Brock Nelson, I'm not sure what they should do with that. But it's concerning because now it's over a period of 2 coaches, not just one coach that has had this problem.
I would try to tear it down, Denny. I know they're not going to do that.
They're not close to winning, so you should lean towards that. You should lean into that. I think the Islander fans would acknowledge that this team isn't like a Panthers or a Devils or a Hurricanes. There's just not enough skill on the team, so I think you could break it down. Depends what you get for these guys, obviously, but I think they're far closer to a pretender than a contender at this point.
They have guys with great playoff experience like Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri who could be very helpful to teams in the playoffs. Great. And if you can get something for them, I would do it. The usual suspects are at the top of the betting board. It's still November, so that's understandable, Danny. The Oilers, the Stars, the Hurricanes, the Panthers. Sure. Is there anyone a little further down the list that maybe should be higher up? Winnipeg's cooled a little bit. They're still 18-1. Vancouver's at 21. Vegas is hanging at 14. Is there anyone else that you think should be a little bit higher on the board right now?
I think the only other team that they keep doing it, Carver, are the Capitals. Maybe find a way. Even with Ovi being out, they're still a plus 29 goal differential. They're still winning games. They went into Florida and beat the Panthers really well. So I think that's a real sleeper team. Now, can they do it over 2 games? I'm not sure. But for right now, they're a top 3 in the Metro, and they're playing very, very well with Spencer Carberry. So I think that would be a team. If you want to take a little flyer on a team, that would be the team I'd take a flyer on.
45-1 for Washington right now for the Cup. That's a nice deep shot that Denny's giving you right there. Denny, happy Thanksgiving to you and the family. Always good to see you, my man. Dennis Bernstein, SiriusXM NHL Radio in the 4th period. We're back right after this. He shouldn't need to hire outside help at this point to be able to help, let alone outside help, Joe, that used to work for him.
Until they get him out of the way, I just don't see how this gets any better. And like you said, who are you picking from? Because most people who know the league want nothing to do with the ownership group there with the Jets.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We fillet Indiana. They would smash them.
What?
Honestly.
You listen to yourself speak. That's not a reality question. They have not played each other. You are using hypothetical.
And they got embarrassed.
As so many
if
teams
they would
do.
have won that football, yes, that's you're 100%
that's the thing,
correct.
No.
The
Stop.
only, argument is Indiana is a decent football team and a product of their environment.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back for El Coast to Coast here on a Tuesday. Carver High and Cam Stewart in for Scotty on SportsGrid and SportsGrid Radio. Let's go here, Cam. How about the Colorado Buffaloes out in Maui? Not just a winner for Cam at 7.5, not just a winner for Cam at 6.5, but outright the money line 73-72. The Buffaloes roam out on the Big Island for you today, Cam. Nice job.
Thank you, Carver. You're my Irish good luck charm. Thanks to Luke and Seattle and the staff here. I feel like I won an award. Do you know when they were down 5 and like it was plus 7.5 again? They were plus like 600. I almost did it again. I'm like, I'm probably not going to win. I am where I am, but that would have been a nice clip. That would have really given me some funds for the NFL to probably screw up betting a bad team or two.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Nice win for Colorado. So UConn, what a shame they're going to have to play in the 7th place game tomorrow in Maui. Another early flight home for Hurley and the Huskies from Maui tomorrow. They'll be home in time for Thanksgiving dinner. They do have that going for them. That's going to be a long plane ride home, as they will play they'll play the loser of the Iowa State Dayton game. I believe that's who they play. Oh no, yes, the Iowa State Dayton game. They play the loser of that.
You know what?
Tomorrow.
I'll bet against them again. Dayton literally lost to Dayton lost to North Carolina as like, what were they, an 8.5, 9.5 point dog. Me and Gabe were on Dayton last night. They lost by 2. They almost won that game outright. The Dayton Flyers are fine. And I'll take either team against these guys. I don't know though. Like, is Hurley just going to flip out or what? You know what? He might just say, screw it. We'll lose 3 because I got no more anger left. You know what? I'm going to take a long, hard look at the dog in that game too, Carver. Because everyone's going to bet him going, they can't lose 3. Yeah, maybe they can.
Trying to see when they've changed it up now. The 7th place game is the buried game, the last game of the night.
It's going to be
7th place game is at midnight East. Is when they play that game. So, the championship game, they actually play at 5 o'clock East. So the championship game, Cam, is going to start while we're on tomorrow.
Oh, good.
5 East tip for the title game. So time do they play the first game? All right, so the 5th place game is at 2:30 East. The championship game is at 5. Then they do the 3rd place game and then the 7th place game. So Dan's got to sit around all day at the resort waiting to play in the last game of the night.
I don't think he's having beach drinks there the way things are going. He might just stay in his room.
No. He didn't look happy either. I saw it. Luke sent me a clip. It was nowhere near of what happened yesterday, but he did need to be held back a little bit towards the end there. Lots of college football, huge games. Now, tomorrow, Cam, we're going to go through all of these huge games, and I'm going to save some of the clips I've got. I've got Elko, Dillingham, etc. We'll play them tomorrow in our big preview. But I would have to say, I guess, Texas A&M is still the biggest game on the card on Saturday night. Even with Texas A&M losing to Auburn, I know that some may feel it lost steam, but I still believe, Cam, if they somehow won Saturday, that puts them in the SEC title game, and if they ever beat Georgia as well, they'd automatically get in. So there's still a lot of gas on the table for Texas A&M in this game coming up this week.
Actually bet Auburn there, Carver, and me and Joe Ranieri were on the air. I just felt it was a weird spot.
Too.
And we had Coach Bowden on, and we talked about it. He goes, strange things happen there. I go, exactly, Coach. Like I'm on Auburn. Like I looked at that line, it smelled weird, and that's the one thing about Texas A&M. They're one of those teams. They're playing a hell of a lot better, but they still find ways to you win that game. Things are so different for you, man. But kudos to Auburn to get it done. I'm glad you were on them with me.
I was on Auburn, baby. Great win for them. Now, Texas A&M's getting 5.5 at home against Texas on Saturday night. So getting 5.5. Remember,
what do you think?
Long-time rivalry. First time they're playing in like 10 years. It's the 10 or 11 years. First time they're finally getting back together. I kind of like the 5.5 with Texas A&M.
What do I?
Here's the thing. Texas hasn't been, super impressive since early in the year. And they beat Michigan. That Michigan ended up not being that great. So they smashed Oklahoma. Oklahoma ended up being awful. They lost to the one great team they played in Georgia. They haven't played any of the other heavies. Think about that. They got through the whole year. They didn't play Alabama. They didn't play Ole Miss. They didn't play Tennessee. They didn't play any of these other big teams. They've kind of been Texas, against Kentucky and Arkansas the last few weeks. I think I'm going to take the 5.5. I can't stand Texas A&M, but I might be willing to root for them on Saturday night, Cam.
Hey, money. You root for money. You don't root for schools, right? Like, that's what me and Joe Ranieri says when he tries to talk me off Oklahoma State every week. I'm like, are they due, Joe? Well, he goes, they're never due, Cameron. Like, enough. Like, just stop thinking that they can cover a game. I'm going to tell you one thing, though, Carver. This A&M team, like, I remember they beat the crap out of Missouri this year. Everyone's going to be – I think Texas is going to get a lot of money. I think A&M might be the right side, and I like the fact that they lost to Auburn. They're going to be angry. I might have sprinkled on the money line, but give it – are you an Aggie? I am. Give me 5.5.
We gave you those against the spread this year numbers earlier. Arizona State, the best team against the spread in the whole country. Arizona, the worst at 2-9 in the whole country. So what's going to give here with Arizona getting 8.5 at home in a huge rivalry game against the Sun Devils? And Arizona thumped them last year, but this is a much different Arizona State team, as we know.
I don't know what to do with this game. I remember this is the game a long time ago. I think I took, at the time, it was Arizona, and I bet them time after time and ended up losing like 9. Yeah, I was like, give me the 8.5, give me the 15.5, 22.5 to 39.5. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I lost every bet. I was like, I'll never forget this Arizona game. It haunts me.
I think Arizona State wins, Cam, but I think Arizona makes it very difficult for them on Saturday afternoon. That is a big number, just over a touchdown for that. All right, we'll come back. Some of the other college basketball games tonight and only 2 NHL games. We'll see who Cam likes in both of them when we come back. Ferrall Coast to Coast on a Tuesday. Carver High and Cam Stewart in for Scotty. We're back after this. He shouldn't need to hire outside help at this point to be able to help, let alone outside help, Joe, that used to work for him.
Until they get him out of the way, I just don't see how this gets any better. And like you said, who are you picking from? Because most people who know the league want nothing to do with the ownership group there with the Jets.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Fillet Indiana. They would smash them. Honestly.
You listen to yourself speak. That's not a reality question. They have not played each other. You are using hypothetical.
And they got embarrassed.
As so many
if
teams
they would
do.
have run that football, yes, that's you're 100%
that's the thing, guys.
correct.
No.
The
Stop.
only,
Please,
only
Let me
argument
speak.
is Indiana is a decent football team and a product of their environment.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back from Coast to Coast here on a Tuesday. Carver High and Cam Stewart here with you for Scotty. Of course, me and Cam will be back tomorrow, heading into the holiday. Of course, Thanksgiving on Thursday, and we will go through it all. Since we're not here Thursday and Friday, we will give you all the numbers and the picks for Thursday's games, Friday's games, Saturday's games, Sunday's NFL games. We are going to go through, me and Cam, the entire slate for 4 days tomorrow on C2C. So make sure you are here for that. Tonight, Cam, we have more college basketball. And Cam should be involved because he's already up today with the Colorado Buffaloes. Number one, Kansas is in Vegas against Duke tonight. This is at the T-Mobile. Huge game. Good game indeed. Right now, getting 3.5. Duke's actually favored by 3.5 in this game, Cam. So you have the 12 team and the 11th to 12th team favored over the number one team. I'm going with DeCourcy. He said Duke earlier, and I'm sticking with it. I'm taking Duke minus the points.
Me, you, and DeCourcy. Three's company. Come on, knock on our door. Place a bet that is new. We're going to go. Let's do this thing. We're taking Duke. It's like the Cincinnati game versus Pittsburgh, Carver. Something smells weird, and me and DeCourcy, we're into it. Give us Duke. Let's roll.
Everybody's on Kansas tonight. Everybody's on Kansas. So that's just fine by me. Two other games in Vegas. These are at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Of course, you got 4 games there today. That Oregon game's going on right now. But Houston will play Alabama there with Houston minus the 4.5. Late night, Rutgers now down to 1.5 against Notre Dame. I'm going to tell you this right now, Cam. Rutgers, light years better than Notre Dame. I watched Notre Dame lose at home to Elon the other day. Notre Dame has no pros on that team. And the other 2 games in Maui, Michigan State minus 1.5 against Memphis. And late night, you have got, that is Iowa State who will be playing Dayton as well. I am sorry. Yes, you have Iowa State and Dayton in that other game. That's the other third place game going now.
Dayton, I like the way they played last night. Iowa State's a better team, but 9.5 looks like a lot. I lean Memphis in that spot, getting 1.5 money line. I'm with you. But Carver, something smells with that Notre Dame line. I would still probably take Rutgers up to like 4.5. But I like Rutgers in that spot. And give me the dog in Alabama against Houston, 4.5.
The late night game, I apologize, Cam, is Auburn, North Carolina, which I did not get on there. That was my fault, not Nick's. But Auburn minus 3.5 tonight against UNC in Maui. Last game of the day there. Yeah, I like the way Auburn played last night in that game. I know Ranieri said he's got them number one in his power rankings, the whole deal.
Yeah, nice.
I could see Auburn winning that whole thing.
They had like a poker fight on their plane, like for money. They did an emergency landing, and they still won the game. No, that's what I'm saying. I like
Houston
these guys.
After that
Poker game, emergency landing, and we still win and cover.
No problem.
Those are my type of guys.
Win.
Give me the Auburn Tigers.
2 games in the NHL tonight, Cam. Only 2 for you. The Canucks are in Boston against the Bruins. Bruins a slight home favorite, minus $1.20 at a 5.5 total. Low total.
Bruins are playing a little bit better than a mini heater. I like the Canucks. I got to figure it out on the road. I'll take the dog in this spot. Don't love it, but give me Vancouver.
And Utah is in Montreal against the Canadiens. And again, road favorite here. Utah favored on the road. You're getting about a plus $1.15 now with Montreal at home.
I'm looking at Montreal plus 112. Wait for the game to start. If you can find a 6 with juice, I like the over in this hockey game. Take a look at the Montreal Canadiens. They score goals, give up goals in Utah. They're coming off a loss to the Leafs, maybe a little bit tired. Yeah, I like the over, and I like the Montreal Canadiens. And I don't say that often.
I think almost everyone plays tomorrow, Cam. As I was looking ahead to the NHL, I think there's actually just a couple off. I think there's 15 games tomorrow in hockey.
You better have a big day tonight. I need more money. I need more money to bet all these games. And then we got the NFL.
You're gonna need it because we'll set you up tomorrow, Cam, for the entire weekend, and that includes all the college basketball, the NBA, and the hockey that we have to do tomorrow night as well. So a very busy Wednesday, coast to coast, to get you going. So Cam, tremendous job. As always, by you. I will see you back here tomorrow for what will have a Football Friday feel on a Wednesday. Not a golf Wednesday, Cam, but a football Wednesday.
That's fine.
On C2C, as we have no golf to bet on.
Take a break.
Great job by Gabe, Mike DeCourcy, and Denny Bernstein. Great job by Mafia Luke and the crew. Game Time Decisions is next. Ferrall, Coast to Coast. Me and Cam back with you tomorrow here on the Grid. Good night, everybody.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do it
To be able to help him.
because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like it'd be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.